Unlike Florida and South Carolina, there is no degree of murder. Murder is murder. South Carolina identifies murder as the intentional killing of another person with malice aforethought. In Florida, first degree is premeditated. Second degree is a murder with an immoral mind. And finally, third degree is defined as voluntary manslaughter. That could mean heat of passion, unintentional killing, or believing murder is necessary in self-defense. In South Carolina, any person who is convicted of or pleads guilty to murder must be punished by death or by mandatory minimum term of imprisonment for 30 years to life. Minors are only exempt from the death penalty. Nicholas Cruz, the assailant in the Parkland High School shooting in Florida, is 19. He is an adult and would be eligible for the death penalty in South Carolina. Criminal defense lawyer Stanley Myers has practiced law for more than 12 years. Myers says that aside from murder, the death penalty is only sought through case-by-case circumstances.
It's been a long time since I've seen the state seek the death penalty on a particular individual, but generally those type cases are reserved for what we call murder plus. An individual commits murder, the malice aforethought, plus an aggravating circumstance.
Aggravating circumstances can be anything that increases the severity of a criminal act. That can be determined by the heinousness of the crime, lack of remorse, or prior convictions. Cruz faces 17 counts of premeditated murder in Florida. The Kirkland Correctional Institution here on Broad River Road is one of the few places in South Carolina that houses death row inmates. It's a lot easier for a murderer to get a death penalty conviction than it is to prove an insanity plea. Cruz's defense attorneys have not said whether or not he will seek an insanity plea. In Orangeburg, David Pasco was solicitor and chief prosecuting officer for the First Circuit in South Carolina, including Dorchester County and Calhoun County. Pasco has practiced for 25 years and says that the requirement for insanity is the same regardless of age.
To be not guilty by reasons of insanity, you have to have a mental illness or defect. That mental illness or defect has to have caused you to commit the crime, and it has to cause you not to know the difference between right and wrong.
The processing in either state would be long and calculated, even after a guilty verdict. South Carolina requires a review by the state Supreme Court for any death sentence. Carolina News, Sierra Artemis.